Good morning, everybody, all you cool cats and kittens. I hope you all are having a wonderful Wednesday on today and a humpalicious hump day because it's the middle of the week. We're getting it done, we're getting it in, and we're pushing through and pressing on as we always do. Today, in this virtual English class, we are going to be reviewing text structures and author's purpose. Okay. And of course, we have some activities that goes along with this. So make sure that you watch the video in its full entirety if you are watching this from the YouTube playback. Okay. So all that being said, again, I hope everybody's having a wonderful and great Wednesday thus far. And we're in the middle of the week, y'all. We're almost at the end. So let's just press through, push through, and make it happen like we always do. All right. So um I do have some students that did notify me that let me know that they're going to be running a little behind, and that's okay. If all else fails, they can catch the playback, so it's cool. But I'll be doing most of the I guess most of the talking, and I do have one student that's here, so I may chime in and ask her some questions, just to engage in the dialogue and the conversation. All right, so with all that being said, let us begin by reviewing what in the world is a text structure. Okay, so a text structure is simply what it sounds like. Okay, now in the event that you, as I always tell my students, if you don't know what something is, it's honestly okay. Um, I don't know or I can't remember. That does suffice as an answer. Okay, but just for all, for the sake of conversation here, I'm just going to go through very quickly what a text structure is. Okay, so when we think of the words text structure, I like to break down words in a separate meaning and then bring it back together, kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. So when we are talking about text structures, text is the type of is writing. So when we text on our phones, we're writing. That's a form of communication. And structure is simply an organized way of doing things or an ordered way of doing things, depending on who you are and what it is that you're doing. So with that being said, a text structure is a pattern of organized writing. That's all it is. It is a pattern of organized writing. Okay. One thing I always tell my students is that when you understand how words work, when you understand how certain things work, then you can apply them better and you can apply them to where it makes sense. So again, a text structure is simply just a pattern of organized writing. Now there are 5 types. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 types of text structure. Okay. Um, I'm going to see if my student can remember one of them. And I do have them in order. So Brittany, if you can take yourself off of mute for a quick second, and I just want to know, do you remember any of the text structures that we've gone over in class? And if you don't remember, you can simply say, Miss Hampton, I don't remember, and it's okay.
I think I do remember. I about to go through my notebook.
Okay, that's fine.
You said 5 things about the text thing?
Yeah, the text structures. Remember, it was 5 of them that we talked about. So I just want to see if you remember one of them. If you can give me one.
Cause effect.
Yes, cause and effect. As a matter of fact.
Problems.
Problem and solution. What else?
Start with the D.
Description.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The S one,
Sequence.
sequence, and
Mm-hmm. And then there's one more. It starts with a C.
campaign.
Compare and contrast.
Yeah.
So excellent job, Miss Brittany. Thank you so much. And you took wonderful notes because you remembered all 5. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and go through each one of those in in detailed form. Okay, so the first one is description. Okay, and description is self-explanatory. It gives details by using modifiers. Now you have to remember a modifier is something that describes people, places, things, how they move, when they move. So in essence, you're going to see a lot of adjectives and adverbs. Okay, so whenever you're reading a story or whenever you're reading anything, whether it's a song lyric, whether it's a poem, whether it's anything off of social media, even if they give a lot of descriptions and if they describe something, then that's the type of text structure that they're using. They are using description, meaning that they're describing something by using a lot of vivid details. Okay, so that's one text structure. Another text structure that Ms. Brittany mentioned was compare and contrast. Okay, now when you read a story, sometimes you're going to see what is alike and what is different in a passage. Okay, so for example, when you may write an essay and you have to do a compare and contrasting essay about dogs and cats, one paragraph can be simply about what dogs and cats have in common. The other paragraphs can be about what's different from dogs and cats. Okay, I'm keeping it as elementary and as simple as possible, but you can still apply that to more complex and detailed topics, if that makes any sense. So remember, compare and contrast is simply seeing what is alike and what is different in a story, in a poem, in the movies we watch when they have, like the sequels to movies, like Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3, for example. You can compare, all the movies are different, but they still have the same characters. They may have the same kind of background information, but they're placed in different settings. Okay. So, for example, Rush Hour 1 talked about if I remember correctly, talks about the little girl. She was kidnapped. Her father was I can't remember but you get what I'm trying to say. So in essence, Rush Hour 1 was different from Rush Hour 2. Rush Hour 2 was different from Rush Hour 3. So you can actually write an essay about all those movies and how they were the same as far as the plot, the settings, maybe even the characters. And then you can go and write a contrasting paragraph about what was different. Okay. All right. So the next one is sequence. Now, sequence is an ordered writing. That's all it is. Recipes, for example, excellent example of sequence. They give you step-by-step instructions on how to bake something, how to cook something, how to do something. Okay, step 1, blah, 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 blah. Step 2, blah, 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 blah. Step 3, blah, 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 blah. Or some sequences, they use first, then, next, last. They use signal words to let you know that this is coming in a particular order. Okay. Now, for some reason, they separated a sequence and they gave chronological / timeline their own little category, but just understand that they do fall under sequence. Chronological, we understand that chrono means time. So when something is in chronological order, it is a timeline and it uses dates and numbers. Okay. So if you're ever reading a passage or like, for example, a memoir of somebody. Someone was born in 1877, and then in 1892, their mom passed away. And then in 1897, this happened. And then 19. So when you see those types of numbers in an order of certain things happening, you do have a timeline, so to speak, but it's still a sequence. Okay, so make sure that you understand that a sequence is just ordered writing, and chronological slash timeline, it falls under sequence, but it's simply just dates and numbers. Okay, all right. So the next one that Ms. Brittany mentioned was problem and solution. So a problem is a situation. We know this because as humans, we have problems every single day. So a problem is a situation, and the solution is simply the answer to that problem. Okay, throwing a little math in here. We know that 2 plus 2 is 4 all day, every day, no problem. We can verify that as well. If I have 2 apples and I give Miss Brittany 2 apples, how many apples we have all together? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, you can verify that. Okay. Now, as far as English is concerned, as it relates to the text structures of problem and solution, an example would be this. If you live in an apartment complex or a subdivision where there's HOA rules and things of the like, and you get a memo or a notice on your door, and they'll say something to the effect of, we have had several complaints of, noise coming from a certain section of the community. Please be reminded that this is, going against your lease or or the rules of the HOA. So that's a problem. The problem was there's a lot of complaints of noise coming from a particular area in the community. Okay. Now the solution would be simple. They can say, hey, we're going to issue out a warning. If this continues, we're going to issue out a warning. The second, if you get another warning, that's a second strike. Third strike, we're gonna have to terminate your lease and you're gonna be evicted. Okay, so those are solutions to one problem. You can also have multiple problems that has one solution. See, that's also math too, but we'll save that for another day. Okay, so just remember, problem is simply a situation that is happening. And the solution is the answer to the problem. Okay, that's, I cannot make it any more detailed than that. Okay, now, this last one that I'm going to present, a lot of people confuse problem and solution with this last one. So I want to make sure that we have an understanding of the difference between problem and solution and cause and effect. Cause and effect is an action and its results. Okay, so for example, and as you can see, I wrote an effect is what happened. The cause is why it happened. Okay, the key word here for you to know the difference is why something happened. For example, and I use this example in my English class all of the time, and I will use it here. To all my parents that are watching, okay, you have probably been in this situation, or you may know someone that's been in this situation. So as a parent, you're working. You get a phone call from your child's school. And of course, as a parent, you think something has happened, okay? So as a parent, hey, let me go to the school. Let me find out what's going on with my child. I hope my child is okay. I hope he's not sick. I hope he didn't get in any trouble. And I hope he's not suspended from school because we cannot afford that right now. Okay, so you get to the school. Your child is in the front office and your child looks very upset. And so as a parent, the first thing you ask is, what happened? Well, your son, unfortunately, he got into a fight today with so and so, and you know, it was a very bad fight. Um, and they give you details as to what happened. Okay. So that's what happened, the effect. Now, as a parent, you are now going to ask your child what happened. So, of course, your child is going to give you more details. Well, so and so hit me first, and I told him to stop, and he didn't stop. Okay, so why? That's the reason why the fight happened. Does that make sense? So, let me repeat that again. When, as a parent, you ask your child what happened, or when you say, why did you get into a fight? Why did you fight? Because so and so hit me and I told them to stop and they wouldn't do it. So that is the cause and that is the reason why the effect happened. Does that make sense? So I really hope that if you are watching the playback, I hope that the examples that I gave for each text structure makes sense. Because as my students know, Ms. Hampton is here to make it make sense. Okay, so remember, the difference between a problem and a solution and cause and effect is a problem is a situation. So let's take that same scenario and use it for problem and solution. So the problem was your son kept getting picked on, right? He said stop, the other student wouldn't listen. So the solution was that your child beat up the other kid. Now, of course, we know that that wasn't the right solution, but at that time, he told him to stop. He tried to tell the teacher. The teacher didn't want to listen, so he had to stand up for himself and defend himself. And we have a right to do that, okay? So that's a problem and solution. When we get to the details and when we get to the what happened, we are getting to the actions that led up to the fight. So that's where the cause and effect comes in. I really hope that makes sense. So remember, cause and effect is an action and the results. The effect is what happened. What happened was my child got in a fight. Why did my child get into a fight? Because he was being picked on. And as a parent, we've all know someone or maybe even been in that scenario, you know, ourselves, or even growing up, you may have been the one that was in the fight. So you can relate to the example. So as I always tell my students, we deal with real world situations every single day, but we apply the text structures to these real world situations so we can get a clearer and better understanding of how all of these things work. Now, of course, I always tell my students, don't walk around and say, you know, the sequence of when the fight happened was at 9:55. Like we don't walk around and really do that, you know. So just keep that in mind, okay? So remember, these are all of the text structures. In the corner, text is writing, which is a form of communication. Structure is organized and ordered. So a text structure is just a pattern of organized writing. That's it. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay. And I am pretty sure that I don't know, Miss Brittany, I don't think you can, I'm pretty sure I know you can't see it. So what I'm going to try to do, I am going to try to make this as big as possible. Okay. Oh, that's too big. Okay. So Miss Brittany, can you see these, can you see the text structure number 6? Can you see it? Okay. Okay. I see you using the emoji. Okay, thank you. All right. So Miss Brittany, this is what I want you to do. And if you are watching this from the playback, I want you to do this too. I want you to look at numbers 1, 2, and 3, and I want you to identify the text structures. I want to see if you can identify them based on the information that has already been presented. Now, of course, as I always tell my students, we are going to go over these, but I want to give you an opportunity to see if you can identify these things on your own. Okay, so Ms. Brittany, I am going to give you maybe 10 minutes. So I will be coming back showing my lovely face. I'll be back here at around 9:45. I'll just say 9:45. 9:45, and I only want you to do 1, 2, and 3, and then we are going to go over them, okay? So I want you to take your time. There's really no need to rush, but I just want to make sure that I have enough time to get through the entire lesson for today. So I'm going to start you off with 10 minutes, and then I'm going to come back. But if you need more time, I would always grant that as well. So with all that being said, I will be right back after these commercial messages. Okay. All right, and we're back. So, Miss Brittany, give me a thumbs up if you are still working. Okay. Well, give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to sorry. I am going to ask you for numbers 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to ask you which text structure you use and why you picked that particular text structure. Okay. So, and like I said, remember this is just like regular, class. And I just want to be sure that you understand how, the text structures and everything work. Good morning, Miss Tiffany.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. We are talking about text structures, and we're actually getting ready to review the work that we just did. So just hang tight, and I'll, put you back up to speed. All right. So for number 1, Brittany, why do we have schools? What text structure did you pick for that one? And tell me why you picked it.
I put sequence, I think.
Okay. And tell me why you put sequence. And remember, the reason why I'm asking why not to put you on the spot or anyone on the spot is just to gauge where your thought processes were going, and just to make sure, just to have a dialogue, and just to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. So there's no need, of course, to feel, ashamed or, embarrassed. We're helpers to one another. And I just want to make sure, that we are headed in the right direction with, with our reasoning. So you said you picked sequence for number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, can you tell me why you picked that one? Like, what were some of the words that I guess stuck out to you for you to choose sequence?
Start with a C. C. C-O-M.
Okay. Compare and
Mm-hmm.
contrast.
No, it's in the sentence.
Oh, okay. And unfortunately, I can't. I mean, I can see it, but I can't see it. Okay. So when we're looking for sequence, remember we're looking for words that give us a particular order and how to do something. Okay. So I want you to look at number 1 when it says, "Why do we have schools?" Which text structure deals with the word "why"?
School.
Well, no, not the word school, but which text structure. So does cause and effect deal with text structure? Does compare and contrast deal with text structure? So which one of those which one of those text structures, when you hear the word "why," which one goes along
Cause
with?
and effects.
Excellent. So number 1 is actually cause and effect, because it says, "Why do we have schools?" And it actually will give you the reasons why we have schools. So number 1 is actually cause and effect. Education in our society serves many purposes, but there are 3 main functions. So they explain why we have schools. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So number 1, for the people that's watching the playback, number 1 would be cause and effect. And I think I'm going to go ahead and type it. I'm gonna try to type it anyway. Oh, okay. Uh-oh. And that didn't work out so good. Okay, there we go. Uh, okay. So number one is cause and effect. I'm trying to, okay. Then I'm going to move it up so that way everybody can see that. Okay. So number one is cause and effect. And the reason for that is the word why. It's almost like a 5-year-old asking, Mommy, why can't I go outside? Mommy, why can I not do this? Mommy, why? And you say, because. And so yeah, so that's another way that you can look at cause and effect. Think about a 5-year-old, because they're very inquisitive people and they ask so many questions. Why? Because. All right. Now number two.
Number 2 is chronological.
Number 2 is chronological.
Yes, because it's dealing with dates.
Ah, okay. Miss Brittany, did you get that answer as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, excellent job. I don't know why my thing is looking like that. Okay, chronological order. Chronological. Now, remember, this still goes under sequence because it is in a particular order. So I'm going to put / sequence. And what are some of the key words that let us know? Now, Miss Tiffany, you already said that it gives us dates, right?
Yes, but I gotta give me 1 second, okay? I'll be right back.
Oh, yes, ma'am. All right. So I'm going to underline here, and I hope everybody can see this. Okay, in 1821, the first public high school in the United States was started in Boston. And as you can see, by 1900, 31 states required required children to attend schools. Okay, and then it says by 1910. So as you can see, I am underlining all of the dates. That lets you know that this is a chronological sequence. Okay, in 1918, something happened. And then in 1954, the famous Supreme Court case Brown versus Board of Education. All right. So we have dates here. So hopefully everybody can see those dates that I underlined. All right. All right. And number 3. Excuse me, I was yawning. Hopefully nobody saw that. But if you did, I've been up early since like 6:30 this morning. Actually, since 6 o'clock. So sorry about the yawning. All right. So let's see. It says, have a great day. There is more than one way to have a successful school day, but a great way to be well prepared. All right. And it says the first thing you should do is complete your homework the night before. Next, you should try to do this, then, and then last. So what kind of text structure do we have here?
A problem?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be a problem. Well, okay, so show me where the problem is.
Hold on.
Okay, no problem. Oh, our nose. All right. Okay, and I'm back. Okay, so
Will it be
before,
cause and effect?
well, it wouldn't cause an effect because did something happen? So when you're trying to figure, and this is for anybody, when you're trying to figure out what text structure you're dealing with, you want to ask yourself certain questions. So as far as cause and effect, when you're reading something, the first thing you ask yourself is something happening? And if your answer is no, then that means that's not the text structure. Okay, does that make sense? So when
Yeah.
we say
So it'll be the last one.
the which one? Which last one?
The CAP. Okay.
Are you saying it's compare and contrast?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now let's ask ourselves the question: what two things are being compared in number 3? Is anything being compared?
Number 3 is sequence.
Okay.
Because it's
All
going
right.
step by step.
All right. So remember, these are some techniques and tricks that you can use to filter out your answers. So Ms. Brittany, do you understand why number 3 would be sequenced? Because it's going in a step-by-step order. Okay, so do you see how that's the answer?
A little bit.
Okay. Okay, and that's no, I don't know why my thing keeps doing this. Looks weird. Okay. All right, so let me move this up right here. All right, so let me get my pen here. So remember, with sequence, it shows you how to do certain things in an order. So it says there's more than one way to have a successful school day, but a great way to be well prepared. The first thing, so the key word here is first thing you want to do is do your homework the night before. All right. I'm gonna try to do it in the morning. Next, you need to go to bed at a reasonable time. And then it says, lastly, okay, you should wake up early. So they're telling you, you should do, this is the first thing you should do. Then you should do this. And then lastly, you should do that. So when we're doing things in a sequential order, we're gonna go first, second, third, fourth, or sometimes they'll use the words first, next, then, last, finally. So those are the key words that you look for as it relates to text structure. Okay, so do you now see why number 3 would be sequence? Wonderful. Okay, Brittany. And once again, y'all are doing a great job. And for the people that's watching the playback, I hope that these explanations are making sense. Okay. Now, I have about maybe 15 more minutes, so I'm going to go ahead. Before I move on to off this purpose, do Ms. Tiffany or Ms. Brittany, do you all have any questions about text structure?
No.
Okay, how do we feel about that? How do we feel about this review so far? Is it like, okay, I remember this, or is it like,
remember it.
Huh?
I remember it.
Okay, wonderful. What about you, Miss Brittany?
I remember a little bit.
Okay, okay. And once again, the beautiful thing about this platform is that once I upload this video to the YouTube channel, you can look at this as many times as you need to for your note-taking pleasures and your study skills, just to make sure that you understand why the answers are the way that they are. So once again, this is an excellent, platform. And who knew it took Auntie Rona and Uncle Virus for us to get to this point, right? But nonetheless, we're here and I'm very grateful. All right. So with all that being said, if there are no more questions about text structures, okay, I would like to go ahead and move forward with author's purpose. All right. So author's purpose. The word purpose means a reason or a motive or an intent, right? It's an intention. So when someone asks you, what is your purpose in life? They're asking you, what are you intending to do with your life? What is your reason for doing something with your life? And what is the motivation of you doing whatever it is that you're doing? Okay, so we're going to take that and we're going to apply it to author's purpose. So author's purpose is simply the reason why the author wrote what they wrote. Not so much as the point, but the reason, the intention behind it. Okay, so I am not going to take, again, credit for this particular slide. I actually got this from the internet. So shout out to, I forgot who created this, but I just want to give credit where credit is due, because that's important. You know, we don't
How
believe.
come you know that?
Okay. All right. So let's see here. All right. So it is the reason why an author writes a story. I just said that. See, just in case you didn't believe me, it's right there. We all have reasons why we do the things that we do. See, that's a word. If that ain't a word, I don't know what is. That is a word right there. But I ain't gonna get on my soapbox. I'm teaching an English class right now. I'm not gonna get on my soapbox. Authors write to inform, to persuade, to entertain, or to describe situations, okay, to their readers. Now, what I have written in the blue, because this is a previous lesson that I've already taught, it says argumentative is to persuade or to convince. Narrative is to entertain or to describe. And informative is simply to inform. So argumentative, narrative, and informative, those are the three types of essays, okay? So that's very important that you know that there are three types of essays that you can write. The essay that, you know, we have been talking about since the beginnings of time, as it relates to the GED program for your English exam, is the argumentative essay, okay? And I believe sometime next week, we will get back into the writing of the argumentative essay, and making sure that you remember the parts and pieces of an argumentative essay, okay? But just know that there are three types of essays. You have your narrative, which is the story, which is to entertain. So that's the purpose, okay? So the purpose of a narrative is to entertain. The purpose of an informative essay is to inform you. And the purpose of an argumentative essay is to persuade or to convince you of whatever it is that you're reading. You have to either agree with the reader or disagree with the reader, okay? La, 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 la. All right. Writing to inform. Okay, this is very important. There are many creatures that live in the sea. Some fish live in shallow water, and some live in the deepest part of the sea. These fish come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and colors. Today, many new creatures are still being discovered. What is the author telling you about? What is the author saying?
They're talking about the creatures that live in the sea.
Yep, talking about all the different fish. And the author wanted to let you know that they're out there. Okay? The author is informing you of what is happening right now with the creatures and the fish of the sea. There's many different colors, shapes, sizes. They're big, they're small, they're long, they're short, they're everything, they're everywhere. They're here. All right. All right, next slide. Writing to persuade. Now, this one is going to be important simply because this is the type of essay that you're going to be writing on your English GED exam. When an author writes to persuade, they want to make you agree with them about a certain topic or to convince. Okay. Examples include magazines, letters, newspapers, and commercials. We can also put social media in there too. Actually, social media falls under all three, and I'll explain why momentarily. All right. So when we read a magazine, when we read a letter, I believe people still get newspapers like the actual AJC, and they read the editorials and all of those things. That falls under persuasion, because they want you to believe that what they're saying is correct. Okay. And I just realized I skipped a slide, but that's okay. Because y'all, we still got it, so it's cool. All right. Brushy brooms are the best you can buy. Everyone must have one in their homes. Whether you are sweeping indoors or outdoors, you will do a better job with a brushy broom. What is the author trying to persuade you to do?
They're trying to persuade you to buy their brooms.
Yeah, buy my brushy broom. Brushy broom the best. Hey, brushy broom. Brushy. See, I make a jingle out of anything. So, so brushy brooms are the best you can buy. What they're saying is our brooms is top notch. No other broom in the United States of the galaxy compares to our broom. That's what they're saying. Okay, so the author is persuading you to go and buy that broom. Now, this could be a commercial. This can be an ad on YouTube, which is basically a commercial. This can be in a newspaper article. This can actually even be on social media. Okay, so a lot of times we really don't pay attention to certain things sometimes. But again, the goal is for you to apply real life situations to these concepts so it can make sense. Okay. La 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 la. All right, now writing to describe. Now, I do not know why they separated description. Like I don't know why they did that, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway because that's important. All right, writing to describe. When authors write to describe, they talk about the way an object looks, smells, tastes, feels, and what it does. In other words, it uses this thing called imagery. And I don't know if you all are familiar with that, if that word sounds familiar to you, but imagery is basically when you use all the five senses as you're reading a particular story or a topic or whatnot. Okay. So as you can see, we have all of, well, not all, well, I think all of the senses there. So again, when you're describing something, how something feels, how something tastes, how something smells, what did you hear? Those are just using imagery. Okay. My personal favorite. Chocolate cake is usually eaten for dessert. It is dark brown with chocolate icing. On the inside, it is very moist and flaky. It is also tasty and sweet. What is the author describing in this story?
Cake.
Cake. It never fails every time. And I realized that maybe it's just me. I don't know. It's always food coming up somewhere, somehow in these sessions. I don't know. But nonetheless, that is what description or describing something, because it's using, let me see. Okay, I still have my pen. Okay. It is dark brown. Okay. It is dark brown with chocolate icing. So I'm underlining all of the words that are used as adjectives and adverbs. On the inside, it is very moist and flaky. It is also tasty and sweet. So these words are adjectives and or adverbs. Now it's up to you to figure out which one is which. Okay. So that's a challenge for the playback people. Figure out which words are adjectives and figure out which words are adverbs. Challenge. All right. Okay. Let's see. Writing to entertain, my personal favorite. When authors write to entertain, they write stories to make you laugh, cry, or to enjoy. They make you feel some kind of way. They do. It depends on your mood. For example, I love comedies. I love to laugh. So laughter is good for the soul and it's good medicine. So when I look at a movie and it makes me just crack up till tears come down my face or until my stomach hurt, the author has done their job. The screenwriter has done their job. The songwriter has done their job. If ever I feel an emotion and I invoke or evoke an emotion, okay, the author has done their job. So examples. Now remember, I didn't make this up, so Spider-Man, Cheetah Girls, anything that we watch on television, anything that we watch at you know, as a movie, Netflix and chilling, quarantine and chilling, that's what everybody doing right now. All of that good stuff is for entertainment purposes, okay? Sally brought some apples from a farmer down the road. She took some home for dinner for her and her pet toad. Now, first of all, what kind of passage is this? This is a poem. So the question I have is, how do we know that it's a poem?
It rhymes.
It rhymes. 95% of poems, they rhyme. 95% of them, they rhyme. The other ones, they don't. So just keep in mind that you do have some poems that don't rhyme, but they fall with different stanzas and different types of beats and rhythms and things of the like. But this is a poem, and it's entertaining us simply because we know toads don't eat apples. I mean, at least I don't think they do. So this would make somebody laugh. This will make somebody, you know, be like, ha, 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 that's funny. You know, that whole little situation, okay? So remember. Well, this is what I want you to work on. Really, really quick, because we got to go ahead and wrap this baby up. What is the author's purpose for writing the following story? Okay, so I'm gonna give you all about 2 minutes just to read this quick story and to come up with an answer. Your choices are this: to entertain, to inform, or to persuade or to convince. Okay, so those are your choices. Give you all 2 minutes just to read this very quickly, come up with an answer, and I will be right back after these commercial messages. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to go ahead and take you both off of mute, and I'm going to go ahead and pose the question. What is the author's purpose for writing the following story? Every child should be able to watch 10 hours of TV each day. One can learn a lot from the educational programs that are on. One can also enjoy a lot of great movies too. Ask your parents today.
It's to persuade.
To persuade why?
Because they want you to watch TV. They want you to watch the educational programs and the movies. They must be a cable company.
Yeah, it might be Comcast. They might be Spectrum. I don't know who they are. Nonetheless, let's see if you're right. That is correct. The author is persuading you to ask your parents if you can watch 10 hours of TV a day. Now, I'm not, well, I have plenty of children, but I've never birthed a child. But that's too much TV. That's way too much TV. And it's bad for your eyes. You want eyes like Miss Hampton? Huh? You want eyes like Miss Hampton? Keep watching 10 hours of TV a day. Keep doing that. All right. So, are there any questions at all so far about what it is that we are doing. Okay, now we're getting ready to go ahead and wrap this up very, very quickly. Okay, this next slide, it is for, not, I say classroom assignment, but this is also for the playback. All right, so I'm going to give you all 5 minutes really, really quickly. And I want you to look at the following song lyrics, and I want you to tell me the songwriter's purpose of the song. Is his purpose to persuade or to convince, to entertain or to inform? Okay, so I want you to look at that very quickly. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, and then we're going to talk about it, and then we're gonna wrap it up and put a little bow on it, all right? So as always, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. If you are watching this playback, this is your assignment as well. So please make sure that you have taken all the notes, and make sure that you turn this in to me, because I need to know that you've done this assignment if you are watching the playback. All right. So with that being said, I'll be right back after these commercial messages. Don't you go change it. All right, and we're back. Woo, woo, and we're back. Woo, woo, woo. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up and put a pretty little bow on it. All right, so this is a song that is actually on Miss Hampton's classroom playlist. Check it out. It is called Love Will Find a Way by Lionel Richie. If you are one of my students and you have been in my class, you know I play this song. I play a lot of songs. That's why I created that playlist. So that way, you know, you can still get a feel of me, you know, with the music. Because, you know, music is everything. It keeps me sane. See how sane I am? Okay, so anyway, so let's talk about this very quickly. The lyrics, how does the lyrics make you feel? When you see these lyrics, how do they make you feel?
It makes me feel like someone needs a hug.
Oh, okay, someone needs a hug. All right, we like hugs. Well, not right now, not with Auntie Rona and Uncle Virus. But yes, makes you feel like you need you want to give a hug or you need a hug. What else?
Love.
Love. Okay, beautiful. Love. Okay, and give me one more. Give me one more feeling. Okay, does it make
Passionate?
you okay, passionate? Okay. Does it make you
No, I said
feel
compassionate.
oh compassionate? Okay. Compassionate. So does this song motivate you? Does
I
it
guess if I was feeling down, it would.
okay. All right. So when you listen to the song, like I say, songs are interpreted in a lot of different ways. So it just really depends on, you know, how you would look at it. Okay. So what is the purpose? Because Lionel Richie wrote the song, by the way. What do you think his purpose was? Was his purpose was to encourage? Was it to inform, entertain? What was
I
his
believe
purpose?
it was to encourage.
Yeah, to encourage, to uplift, to motivate, to let you know that, hey, we're going to pull through it. Remember, there is a method to Miss Hampton's madness. Y'all do understand. You've been with me long enough, you should. So again, I picked this particular song lyric because I think, especially with the pandemic and what we're going through right now, I feel like we need a boost and we need something that's going to help push us along and push us through. So we've all felt this way, whether even before the pandemic, at some point in our lives, we felt this way. So I say that to say, when we listen to songs and when we feel some type of way and it evokes an emotion out of us, the songwriter has served his purpose. Now, of course, if you're listening to a song, if you're listening to a sad song and you're laughing, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, I don't think that those two things go together. I just don't think they do. But I'm not judging, I'm just saying. All right, so are there any questions at all about our lesson for today? We talked about text structures and author's purpose. Okay, and if you're watching this playback video, this is, you know, your assignment as well. Okay, and I want you to tell me in your own words, how does this song make you feel? What do you get out the song? Because I really think that that's important, that we understand how things make us feel. Okay, all right, so real quick, thank you so much to my students that joined me on today. I appreciate you. How was class for you today?
Great.
Good.
Okay, wonderful. I'm very happy to hear that. And also, is this something? Now remember, let me ask you this: is this something that you wouldn't mind watching the playback again on the channel, just to make sure that you understand the different types of text structures and the different types of author's purpose? Is this something that you think would benefit you?
Yes.
Okay, and I encourage that. I really, really do, because remember, everybody thinks differently, everybody learns differently. So I want you all to understand that this is why I created, you know, the YouTube platform. So that way you can go back at any time and watch these videos on your own time, at your own pace. You can take the notes, you can, you know, do whatever it is you got to do and do it in a comfortable setting. Okay, because that's what I'm all about. I'm all about being comfortable. See this face? Don't it look comfortable? I'm just kidding. All right. So
Look a little gangster, but
yeah, I'm a thug. Well, you know, I am a thug from the story I told yesterday. You know, if I can hit a 4-year-old, you know, when I was 12, I ain't hit a 4-year-old at my age now. Let me make that clear. Okay. Like, oh, she be abusing people. No. If you missed the story on yesterday, look at yesterday's English playback video, and you can get the story between my 4-year-old brother at the time and 12-year-old me at the time. Okay. We're both grown now, and we're you know, we're good. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share for any final questions. Any comments that y'all have? Anything y'all want to say?
No.
Oh,
see you tomorrow.
I'm gonna see you in a few minutes. All right. So I will see you all on tomorrow at 9 o'clock, bright and early. Again, thank y'all so much. If you're watching the playback, please be sure that you follow all the directions, watch the videos, and read the description box and the pinned comment section for further information. And Miss Hampton loves you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I'll be back in a little later. Yes, be blessed, everybody. Be blessed.
All right. See y'all later.
All right.